Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. You are now tuned in with the best of the best, the greatest of the greatest, and that is myself. And on the line with me, ladies and gentlemen, is Fran. How are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing really good, actually.
Good, good, good. Now, Fran, once again, we've been bombarded with a lot of news this week and this past week because today is Sunday. And starting out, Fran, I want to ask you. I'm sure you saw the video of Kevin Smith, and I'm personally going to be doing a video in response to that sometime this week. Um, what was your reaction, or what are your thoughts on the confirmation, seemingly that initially Man of Steel would have followed BvS, Justice League, Man of Steel 2, and then Justice League 2 and Justice League 3?
I mean, when I saw it, I was at the gym listening to it,
Uh huh.
and what I noticed, and it was something weird that someone pointed out in Twitter,
Uh huh.
the video was chopped out. Like the Kevin Smith video had like 20 minutes like cut
Uh
from
huh.
it,
Uh
and
huh.
they were like 20 minutes talking about the Snyder Cut and the Justice League trilogy and everything like that.
Uh huh.
So I was like very interested on what he was saying about the Green Lantern Corps and the nightmare scenario
Uh
and
huh.
everything like that.
Uh huh.
But right now I'm like more excited to know what those 20 minutes were about, because if in like 5 to 10 minutes he said all of that was new, I want to know what he said in those 20 minutes, and I want to thank him for publicly not saying that, release the Snyder Cut and everything like that.
Right. Okay. Okay. I definitely agree. And though what you pretty much said about the nightmare scene in the Green Lantern, of course, are some other questions I want to bring up. Me personally, I was more heated. As you know, I get pretty heated and I start rambling when somebody mentions Justice League. I was pretty heated at that dude that was standing next to Kevin, and somebody said that Kevin might have been drunk. But as the old saying goes, I don't know if you heard this, drunk men tell no tales. And what he was saying all made sense the more you think about it. And leading into the next question, Fran, uh, what are your thoughts on Justice League eventually featuring Green Lantern and the Green Lantern Corps? And before you answer, Fran, there's been a lot of things said about Green Lantern. The last we know, Judas, I mean Joff, excuse me, Joff Johns is Joff Johns is supposed to be helming the writing the story for Green Lantern, of course. Whether or not that will still be the case, we don't know, because the movie was initially scheduled to come out next year, and obviously that's not the case unless they're just gonna rush into everything. And given what they did with Justice League and Suicide Squad, I don't think, needless to say, that will be the best course of action. But anyway, friend, what are your thoughts on Justice League uh, at the time, eventually featuring Green Lantern?
I think that would be like a really intelligent move,
Mm-hmm.
like expanding the universe to intergalactic planets,
Uh huh.
like that. Kevin Smith said that they were gonna go like intergalactic wars with fighting an apocalypse and then fighting back in Earth.
Right.
And I think that introduction of the Green Lantern Corps could be like pretty awesome, like because it was going to be like war, like thousands of Green Lanterns and the Justice League versus Apocalypse, and everything was gonna be epic. And I don't know, man. And now that Geoff Johns is handling the Green Lanterns Corps movie, it's like he's really good with comics, but every time that he has written something for TV or something for cinema, it has gone like really, really wrong.
Mm.
Like he was one of the main responsibles for writing the script for Green Lantern, featuring Reynolds, and we all know how that came out.
Yeah.
And he was the one that like overrode the reshoots of Justice League, and we all know how that turned out.
Yeah.
So I think that he's an amazing comic book artist and writer and everything, but the time that he's on cinema, it's done. Like, I don't think that he has the talent to handle these characters on the big screen. He has great talent handling them in comics and everything like that, but I think that the big screen is too much for him.
You damn. you exactly hit it on the nail. I mean, I when I think of Justice League, I think of Green Lantern, I think of Batman, I think of Superman, I think of Wonder Woman, and it's interesting that Zach chose to include Cyborg in the mix and everything, and I just wish, it's just a shame that now it just seems like I don't know, man. I it's just a bunch of I don't know what to think. It's just like I said in the video with Cap, shout out to him. It's just like this diabolical, despicable comic story is just unfolding in front of, for the world to see. WB or whoever, Joff and whoever else, just tearing apart, this, like you said, epic, grand story in the scheme of it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's something like, why would you trade something as epic as that Justice League trilogy for fancy humor and pleasing 5-year-olds?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think is gonna give you more money? A comedy film or an intergalactic science fiction superhero film, grand scale, Lord of the Rings style?
Exactly.
I don't know. A lot of poor decisions were made those days.
Yeah, I would like to know what they were smoking, what they were drinking, and what made them think, yeah, let's just approve this, and this, and this, just put it out. I don't know. I would like to really know what it was they were smoking or drinking to make them approve all this shit and decide that the stuff that made sense somehow didn't make sense. But again, moving on to the next question, Fran, and you kind of touched on this earlier. What are your thoughts on the nightmare scene coming to fruition, or initially were going to be coming to fruition in Zach's Justice League story in the grand scheme of it all?
I think that it was going to be like the great reward. Like, it was like, I think that they said that it was going to be like the last movie. The nightmare scenario was going to be the last Justice League movie.
That's right.
And I think that it was going to pay off not only in epicness, but because of the whole plan was planned out from BvS. So all the people that were like, oh, who's that guy who is traveling in time and advising Bruce, like, you have to save her and everything like that. And then the whole scene of the nightmare scenario with Batman and people who don't know comics and everything like that will be like, what is this? So that nightmare movie was going to pay off all those little cameos and scenes that people didn't really understand.
Right.
So if, again, I've said this too many times, but if people were patient, they would have had that paid off in future movies. But because they are not, we got all screwed up.
Yeah. Like,
it's the same with Snyder's Superman is not my Superman. And it's like, if you were patient, you would have seen that it was all a character arc, and that character arc was going to apply also to Batman.
Yes.
And it's the same, always the same. They weren't patient, and they screwed up everything. And now they are all the same all the time, saying like, oh, BvS is a mess, and there's continuity errors and this and that. And it's like, you weren't patient enough, and now you're not gonna get that payoff that was planted off in the first movies.
Damn. And that saddens me, bro. It's like, I think of it now, and I see Aquaman grossing $1 billion. I see Shazam being a potential success, skipping over Birds of Prey with hot women. I see Wonder Woman 84 being obviously most likely being a potential success. But at the center of it all, I'm just trying to figure out how they can make Justice League another Justice League film and just skip over everything that was previously established. Does that make sense, or do I need to break it down further? Does that make sense?
I mean, yeah, it does. Like, with everything that they have built up, now that if they try to make another Justice League movie, it's going to be difficult to explain.
Yeah.
Like, because now with Wonder Woman 84, we're gonna have like continuity errors and everything like that. So I don't know. I think that they are not going to make another Justice League movie in a long time.
Yeah. And we're gonna touch on the Snyder Cut a little bit later on, Fran. This next question, Fran, you know how I like to make butt cheeks feel uncomfortable, how I like to make triggered individuals smash the dislike button, and that's fine. And I'm sure you've seen this, being as involved in the community as you are. I'm sure you've seen this statement somewhere along the line, and that is, are you a believer in the conspiracy about Batman v Superman and Captain America Civil War almost being too similar?
I mean, they are similar, and you know, there have been leaks that, you know, Geoff Johns leaked the script to Disney or Marvel, and that made them change it. And I don't know. I mean, I see the two movies, and I don't really see anything extremely similar. Like, you know, you see like two bands fighting each other. In one case, it's two characters. In the other one, it's two bands, and you're like, it's conflict and everything like that. But in the end, I don't see that much of a similarity. Like, I'm sure that something was leaked and Marvel got some ideas from the script of BvS, but I think that overall it's not that observable and easy to find the similarities between them to say that they copied the whole script or something like that.
Okay, got you. Moving on to the next question, Fran. Now, it's been over a week or something like that. Do you still think that people overreacted to Patty Jenkins' comments, you know, in regards to, you know, how they worded it, solo films before Justice League? Do you still think that people overreacted?
I mean, yeah. Like, because if you analyze the words slowly, you can see that she didn't say something extremely offensive towards neither Zack Snyder or the previous movies. Like, she just said that she wanted maybe some kind of previous character development or previous films or something like that, which is nothing wrong.
Right.
And, you know, when she said something like, I think that another Justice League movie should wait or something like that, that she said, I mean, she's not wrong. I mean, she saw the final product and she was like, I don't want films, I mean, I don't want DC films to go in this path. So I pretty much understand that she is saying, I don't want this, I prefer standalone films because the standalone films have worked better, because in most of them the directors have been the ones that had the control over their movie, not like what happened in Justice League. So I totally understand her statement.
Okay, got you. Now, Fran, we saw that Abomination in November of 2017, and I'm not talking about that Thor movie. We saw that film, Justice League, and like I told Cap, the first time I saw the movie, I was like, okay, this is, I guess, decent. But when I was thinking about BvS and Man of Steel, I'm like, something just doesn't seem all the way through and through right. And I want to talk about that family in the movie, Fran, that Russian family. How do you feel about the Russian family in Justice League? Because when I saw the movie the second time, I was like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? And I just want to know your thoughts on the Russian family in Justice League, brother.
It was like poor story writing, like because that is like a trick that Joss Whedon uses in his like in the Avengers movies, where he follows like a little group of people to have like a point of view of the invasion and everything like that. So it was just recycled from other of his movies.
Age of Ultron.
Which, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Which was like kind of sad. Like you're not even putting effort into this, but whatever. And the other thing is like you trim the movie down to 2 hours, and from those 2 hours you spend like maybe 15 minutes with this Russian family. Dude, you have a Justice League movie. Like develop the characters, develop the story, and stop focusing on a fucking Russian family that no one cares about. Like some of the characters don't have like even character development,
right?
And you have like a few Superman scenes, and you have Batman as a clown, and you don't have a lot of character development for Flash or Cyborg. And what you do is take a family and replace with that family that doesn't gives nothing to the film.
Exactly.
And you put first that family over character development. And
yeah.
That's why I'm not surprised of the film that came out of that disaster. Like it's what we talked about before. It was like a mixture of bad decisions that if maybe one of them just raised their hand and said, I think that we are screwing up, maybe they would have stopped. But it was like continuous and a continuous choice of bad choices. Like, I don't know, it was like if someone has raised their hand and said, okay, this is really bad, maybe they would have stopped or thought about it.
Yeah.
But it was just bad decisions.
Yeah.
And I am not surprised of the movie that came out.
Yeah. Now, Fran, let me ask you this, brother. We clown and in my opinion, rightfully so, go at Joss Whedon. And what he did to the film, I just don't want to even think about it. We talked about this in a video we did way back, and I think you said that he shouldn't shoulder the blame as much, but because of the time constraint. But we do know that 30% of the movie actually was half of the movie apparently being reshot. Now, what is your stance on what is your take on what Joss did to Justice League now as opposed to what we were initially told back then?
Well, I think that there's a lot of people to blame there. I think that Joss Whedon is like a major character to blame, but we also have to blame like the producers, the studio, Geoff Johns, a lot of people that were sneaking behind the scenes and trying to make Snyder leave. And the thing with Joss Whedon is he is an artist. I mean, people can hate his work or love it, but he's an artist. He's a director. He's made really great movies. He makes movies. And I think that he understands the kind of effort that is put in this kind of movies. So, after what Snyder did in that movie, like, that's a tweet that I saw in Twitter that said something like, Geoff Johns got to see the Snyder Cut, that's really unfair. And that's true.
Yeah.
But the thing is that he saw it, and he saw passion and dedication and work put on that movie, and he got that work from 9 years of development and trimmed it down to 2 hours and introduced already used things like the Russian family and everything like that, and made everything a joke. So fully blame Whedon, but I blame him on not having empathy, on knowing how hard it is to make a movie and how much passion you put on them and destroy someone else's work.
Exactly.
Like, I can forgive him in the research and everything like that because the studio was the one that told him to do them. But you can do them in a respectful way.
Yes.
Because Snyder is an artist too, and he put a lot of effort in these movies. And you just came up and in 3 months you destroyed everything that was already stated, and you destroyed characters and scenes, and you made cringy jokes, sexualized characters, and everything like that.
Yeah.
So what I fully blame on Whedon is the disrespect for Snyder regarding how much effort and time he put in these characters and in these movies, and how easily he destroyed everything, knowing that he's a director as he is.
Damn. Mic drop. I mean, man, like me, I look at it pretty much the same perspective. And I'm glad that you mentioned doing it in a respectful way, because as soon as you said that, I immediately thought of, James Wan wanting to stay in line with what Zach intended. That's an example of that. You can bring a new director in, but stay in line with what the original director intended. A la Solo, directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, which switched to Ron Howard. But that's a whole nother video. This next question, Fran, is: are you at all surprised that Kevin Smith and others are revealing the original plans for Justice League and beyond in the DCU, the initial plans? And I saw a video, I don't know if you heard of Looper on YouTube. They also pretty much showed what Kevin Smith said, and have a video called The Original Plans for Justice League. And I'm like, wow, it's really going, like, it was going mainstream earlier, but it's really going mainstream now. Are you at all surprised that this is happening?
I mean, I'm surprised because I thought that everyone had moved on. Like, some of us keep fighting for it, for the Snyder Cut. But I thought that after Comic-Con, everyone, like the mainstream media or studios, were gonna give up. But I'm surprised of how much it's still being talked today. And I think that afterwards, Kevin Smith said that really surprised me, because I'm like this movie came out 1 year and a few months ago, so all the NDAs and everything like that are still active. So the fact that someone as important as Kevin Smith is getting these plans out, and big news outlets and YouTube channels are making videos about them, is fucking amazing, because that only helps us.
Right.
Like, I was surprised that Kevin Smith said that, because he's like, well, I've talked to some people from the CGI and everything like that, and they've told me this. So the fact that there are people willing to risk kind of their work, maybe not fully, because if they do it anonymously, they have nothing to fear. But the fact that there's people risking it to get that information out there, and Kevin Smith, he's risking being joked off, because every time you say that there's a Snyder Cut, everyone laughs at you.
Right.
And he's a respectful and respected man. So the fact that he's stating all of this out there for us is fucking amazing, because that only makes it mainstream. And if the studio sees that it's mainstream and a lot of people know about it, and a lot of new people are interested in them, they see money, and that's what they care about. So if they have potential customers, have a potential revenue of money from this kind of film, maybe they think about releasing it.
Okay. Now let me ask you this, Fran. The Snyder Cut. Now, would you prefer to see it on disc, meaning obviously Blu-ray or 4K, or do you think that it would be better to see it on a streaming service? Because this is something I've seen brought up. I don't know why. Me personally, I'd rather watch it on Blu-ray, watch it again and again, as opposed to online where one day North Korea might blast a missile and destroy everybody's internet or some shit like that, and voila, you can't watch the Snyder Cut. What would you rather see it on 4K or Blu-ray, or would you rather see it on a streaming service?
I really prefer like Blu-ray or 4K because in a streaming service they can, maybe if they put it in a DC Universe streaming web, they can like shut it down or something like that, and you have to go into pirate territory to get it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that if we get the Snyder Cut, having it in a physical copy would mean like so much for us.
Right.
Like it's not the same as everyone would be excited of seeing it in anywhere. I mean, if you could say it anywhere, you will be excited. But the fact of having a new box, like extended Ultimate Edition with 2 hours of never seen features, and you have like extended behind the scenes with Snyder talking, no Geoff Johns, no Joss Whedon, and no reshoots, and the fact that you have something that you can touch and have after all that you fought for it will be 100 times better than having it in a streaming device. Like, I will be happy if they say, we're gonna release it in a streaming service. I will be pretty fucking happy. But the cherry on the cake will be to have it on a physical copy. Like, that's it,
Yeah.
It's a whole different feeling.
I got you. Now, Fran, last week, I was at work. I'm not supposed to be pulling my phone out, but a brother does what he does anyway, cause the women love to blow up my line. I can't stop them. But that's another video. But I was on Twitter, and all of a sudden I got this notification, and it said Ben Affleck tweeted for the first time in a while. I was like, oh, okay. I clicked on it, and I read it, and basically Ben was sending his thoughts to director Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves, a very talented filmmaker in his own right, has helmed 2 of the best Planet of the Apes movies in Dawn and War. Also helmed a film that I really enjoy called Let Me In. He's been attached to the movie since 2017, and it's been uncertain as to whether or not Ben will be in his film, and it's seemingly been confirmed, although we don't know to what extent, that Ben is out as Bruce Wayne and Batman. And when I read it, I was like, I was crushed. I started feeling sick. I almost wanted to leave. I was crushed. But what are your thoughts on Ben Affleck's tweet in regards to Batman?
I think that it's like a pretty harsh tweet saying I'm not gonna be the protagonist of this film, but the way the tweet is put, it leaves the door open for future cameos or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, because he's saying like, oh, I'm excited for the project, and in the news it says like Matt Reeves is looking for a younger Batman and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that the younger Batman is like a past version of himself leaves the door open for cameos in maybe Birds of Prey or Gotham City Sirens and films like that. So I'm sad that he's no longer the Batman, and I mean some people were already saying it and we kind of saw it coming, but in that sadness there's like a spark of hope of him returning for a little bit of screen time in future movies, not for a whole trilogy like Matt Reeves is wanting to make. So I know that everyone is pretty sad, but we have to look at the positive way, and the positive way is that the door is not shut down all the way. So we have a little bit of or a spark of hope to see him again as the Bat in future incarnations.
Hashtag release the Snyder Cut, WB. Moving on, Fran, let me ask you this, and we've kind of touched on this in the past as well. Initially, director Gavin O'Connor was going to be helming the sequel, but now it seems that James Gunn will be instead helming the film. And my question for you, Fran, is: do you think that James Gunn will start afresh with the Suicide Squad, meaning he'll bring in a whole new line of characters?
I mean, they've, like some scoopers or something like that, had said that the only characters that are going to return are Harley Quinn and another character, which is not Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying that it's kind of a soft reboot where they are keeping like two characters from the original and they are getting in a lot of new characters, which I don't really like, because the first Suicide Squad movie had some script problems and had all the problems that you want, but what kept the movie together and what people liked the most was the chemistry between the characters.
Right.
So replacing them all the way, I'm not pretty sure that that's gonna work. And the other thing is, how is he gonna handle the movie? Like, if he's gonna handle the movie in a comedic way, or he's gonna go to his roots where he did like some like horror serious tone in some of his first movies, because I don't want to see another Guardians of the Galaxy movie, you know?
Right.
Like I wanted to have like this kind of, not all the way serious movie, but kind of the first one, where it had like some drama moments and some family moments. I don't want it to be a comedic relief every 2 minutes like the Guardians of the Galaxy was.
Right.
So I'm pretty scared for that, but if he's able to pull it off, I'm gonna be all in for it.
Okay. Now, Fran, going back to Justice League, and I know there's obviously more than one. We could pretty much easily say the whole movie. But what is the one scene that you regret that we didn't get to see in Justice League, which was supposed to be Justice League?
I mean, I think that the first Flight 2.0, like the storyboards that Snyder put on the day that everyone said that Henry Cavill was out as Superman.
Uh-huh.
I want that. I want him to get back the suit and get out of the Kryptonian ship as in Man of Steel and fly again. Like, we've seen a brief kind of images of that scene in some behind scenes footage, where he's like looking down the same way as he was in Man of Steel, but you know, it's all green screen and whatever. But that's what I miss the most, like him flying around. Like in Justice League, we only saw him fly like 3 seconds when he punches Steppenwolf, when he comes back to the tower, and that's it. The rest of the time is CGI and CGI mouth and shitty dialogue.
Yeah.
That's what I miss the most, like him flying and the Hans Zimmer score and everything. That's what I miss the most.
Yeah, it's a shame, man. It's a real freaking shame. And you know me, the I'll take that as a yes scene is the scene I wanted to see most. And people want to say, "Oh, you soft. Why you want to see that scene?" Well, I mean, in BvS, you know, Superman told Lois that she was his world, and for some reason that scene always it just stuck with me. And I just, you know, she was a big part of the reason he didn't give up. And I just wanted to see him, you know, be able to, you know, say that to her. And I'm just sad that we didn't get to see that scene. But anyway, what was your favorite sequence with Ben Affleck as Batman, Fran?
I think that the warehouse scene when he saves Martha, like that was like pure comic book Batman. Like, it doesn't get better than that. It was like, I know that there were like, you know, stunt doubles and everything, but the way he sneaks up from the guns and everything explodes and all the fighting techniques and everything is so brutal. And when he like puts the knife to the guy who who like put it in him.
Mm-hmm.
Like just see him in the suit, and you're like, that's a monster.
Yeah.
Like you see him, and you're like, that's Batman. Like if you see that guy in the streets, you're gonna shit your pants.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of Batman that I like. Like he was a fucking monster. Like if he wanted to, he could break your neck with his bare hands. So that was like my favorite scene, because it was the time that he felt the Batman. You know, we've seen, you know, the Christopher Nolan films, and Bale was an amazing Batman and whatever. But if you really, really love comic books, just if you see that scene, you're like, that's Batman. Like it doesn't get better than that. That's
Yeah.
what I like the most about him. Like the physicality and everything. That's what I like the most about Ben Affleck.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, man, I think I like the fact that Ben Affleck, the biggest thing for me was Ben Affleck, to me, at least, was able to nail both Bruce Wayne and Batman. And obviously, that warehouse scene is just amazing. It's, to me, one of the top scenes in a comic book movie, regardless if it's DC or Marvel. And yeah, I'll always cherish that memory of him being both Bruce Wayne and Batman. Moving on, Fran, let me ask you this. What does hashtag release the Snyder Cut mean to you as a fan? And before you answer, Fran, I'll say, you know, obviously we all want to see Zack's original vision come to life. A big thing for me, and I touched on this in a prior video, the people that support it, I hope they do what they can to honor Adam Snyder's memory. And also a big thing for me is it shows studios the importance of not interfering creatively, you know, not interfering with creative, I guess you call it, creative liberties and creative freedom. You know, if you hire a director, let him or her do his job. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna pass the mic to you on that note.
Yeah, I mean, what it means to me is like creative freedom,
Mm-hmm.
like letting a vision come true,
Mm-hmm.
like not messing with it, and you know, in the end is we all want to see the movie, and that's like the final step. But what the whole hashtag is about is letting a man who has worked so much in these characters and in this story, doing a lot of research, talking to a lot of experts in comics, and working the shit out of every movie that he does,
Right.
to fulfill this vision. And what we say with this hashtag is, you know, let the man. I mean, he planned five movies, and the Snyder Cut will be the third one, but at least let him finish his trilogy. You know, it's all about like I think that he went through some really bad times when his daughter did what she did, and after passing through that and getting fired from your dream job and everything like that, I think that it's the least that he deserves. The least that he deserves is getting that movie out there for the fans to see, and to him to be proud of his work and being able to share it with the world after, you know, 2 or 3 years of working in that particular film.
Right.
It's all about like making justice to hard work being put on that movie.
Okay. Now, Fran, let me ask you this. What is one thing you'll cherish most about Ben Affleck's portrayal of Batman? And the reason I asked that, Fran, and yes, I'm about to get salty, is because I see so many, why do we have an old Batman? Oh, this isn't Frank Miller's Batman. Oh, Batman is this. Oh, Batman. Ooh. You know, what is the one thing you'll cherish most about Ben Affleck's portrayal?
What I will cherish more is like the ability to portray Bruce Wayne and Batman in amazing ways. like he portrays an older Bruce Wayne perfectly. Like he's tired and he has the like that charisma of him to to socialize and everything like that. But in each scene, you can see that he's old and he's like done with this charisma persona, and he's becoming more of the bad in everything in every scene that he's Bruce Wayne. And in the Batman side, I think that we will miss him, and what I cherish is that he was the ultimate Batman.
Yeah.
Like, he had like the best bat suit, he had like the best physicality, he had one of the greatest lines, he had the armored suit, the way that he portrayed everything, the way that his character developed from like a Punisher kind of way to a more compassionate Batman like he was in his earlier days because of what he saw Superman sacrificing and everything like that. So what I cherish most is his ability to make a great Bruce Wayne and the perfect Batman.
Facts. Now, Fran, let me ask you this, and I'm pretty sure you noticed that Twitter, myself included, went wild after it was seemingly confirmed. Do we have a reason to be concerned at this point about Henry Cavill as Superman?
I mean, he posted like 1 hour ago a photo of him like saying, when I work out with Superman or something like that, and it's a photo of him with a statue of Superman. So I'm gonna be optimistic in that way, although a lot of people are saying that he's out. But I want to choose to be optimistic because I am more optimistic in Henry Cavill staying than Ben Affleck staying. So I think that people should be, prepared for the worst but hoping for the best. Because like 1 hour ago he posted this. If he was out as Superman, he is not going to post a photo of him next to a Superman statue saying that he works out like him and using hashtag Superman and everything like that. So I think that maybe he's going through negotiations again, as he was the last time that everything blew up. So I think that we should be patient and hope for the best. And my personal feeling is that he's going to stay, but the thing is that we don't know when he's going to appear again.
Right. Okay, Fran. We're 42 minutes into this. Fran, brother, did you have any questions you wanted to ask me? Because, I'm always the one running my mouth and I don't want to cut anybody off. Did you have any questions you wanted to ask me? It can be small or large or whatever.
I mean, I have one that is going to be pretty interesting, which is, do you think that the date that Shazam has scheduled, I don't know how to say,
schedule,
the date that it's, that the day that it's coming out, it is going to be a flop because Avengers 4 is coming out like 3 weeks later? Like, do you think it should move either earlier to or forward in time to not fail at the box office?
Oh shit. I think and see, I honestly forgot that they moved Avengers 4 to April the 26th. I don't think that it's gonna necessarily flop. I think a lot Aquaman intrigued the enough people, whether that's overseas or whether that's just specifically overseas or a combination of overseas and domestically, though the box office tickets showed that that it's mostly overseas. I think good word of mouth, which so far it seemingly has based off of a screening, and also obviously not me and you, but obviously a lot of people seem to take what critics have to heart. That will help. And the fact, like you touched on as well, the fact that it looks different and that it's how do I word this? It's just a fun movie. People say they want fun superhero movies. This Shazam is most definitely that type of movie. It could easily, in my opinion, be rated PG, though I think it's going to be rated PG-13. So, do I think they should move it? I say fuck it. DC go all in. You know, they've had this date for set in stone for Shazam for the longest, and I say they should go all in and keep it there, and hope for the best. And I don't think Endgame will have too much of an impact on it. I think once Endgame comes out, that's the movie. I think everybody, regardless of if they're loyal DC or loyal Marvel, I think they're definitely gonna we're all gonna go see it. But Shazam, I think ultimately will be fine. Now, whether it will hit Aquaman numbers, realistically speaking, I don't think it will. But at the same time, I don't think we should be expecting it to hit Aquaman numbers, and it doesn't necessarily need to hit Aquaman numbers to be considered a success. What do you think?
I mean, I think that it's gonna be. I mean, if the movie is really good, I think that it's gonna take like a group of our audience that they're gonna go and see it, even though Avengers 4 is there.
Yeah.
But the thing is that maybe the first 3 weeks of Avengers 4, Shazam is gonna flop in the box office. Like, I think that the first 3 weeks that are until Avengers 4 is released are gonna be like, he's gonna dominate, because I think that this movie is something different and fun, and I think that all kinds of people are gonna go and see it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Avengers 4 is really big, and I don't think that Shazam is going to be able to compete with it. But it doesn't have to compete. It just needs to be successful in those 3 first weeks, and then wait until the Avengers 4 euphoria is gone, and keep getting screenings and theaters and everything like that, so you get in the long run. And the fact that this movie costs like 120 million, not something like 250 as Aquaman did. Mm-hmm. So maybe Shazam does numbers as 600 or 700 million. It's gonna be a successful movie.
Right.
So I think that maybe they could move it a little bit earlier, but there's nothing else that you can do, so you have to go full in.
Yeah. And Fran, those are some great points. And you know, there were a lot of people, myself included, initially, though I saw the potential with James Wan. I was, as a matter of fact, not to brag on myself, but I was one of the first people that suggested that Aquaman was gonna dominate December, and you know what ended up happening. But you know, there were a lot of people that thought that Mary Poppins, Into the Spider-Verse, shout out to Into the Spider-Verse, and even Mortal Engines, and it was another movie that released last month, Bumblebee. They all thought that those movies were just gonna bury Aquaman alive, and the funny thing is, Aquaman ended up burying all 4 of those movies alive. Not to say that 2 or 3 of them weren't successful, but Aquaman obviously reigned supreme and came out on top and became the highest grossing DC movie and one of the highest grossing movies of all time. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think we should necessarily count out Shazam, but you touched on it better than I did. Avengers, Into the Spider-Verse, Mary Poppins, and Bumblebee are no Avengers Endgame. This is exactly what the title says. It's the Endgame. You know, it's bringing Avengers from everywhere together. It's bringing them back from the dust that Thanos snapped them into, and everything. And everybody's gonna go see it. So, I think Shazam, with good word of mouth, which is so far as getting, and everything, it'll be fine. It probably won't gross as much as Aquaman, but like you and I both said, it doesn't necessarily need to. Did you have any more questions, Fran? That was a good question.
No, I think that's it. We've made a really long video.
Yeah, we did. Now, to close, Fran, let me ask you this, and this is a sensitive one, but I just want to get it out the way. What is the biggest reason Justice League ultimately failed in a way that Man of Steel and BvS did not? And the reason I asked that, Fran, is because you and I have both seen Zack Snyder had a cut, but they said it was unwatchable. Oh, Joss Whedon was brought in to save Justice League. Oh, Joss Whedon is our savior with his bald head. What is the biggest reason it ultimately failed, Fran, to you?
I think it failed because critically it failed, and for me for me, like, audiences were like, this is only a 2 hours movie.
Mm-hmm.
What I've heard about it, it's that it had like a really strange production. Like, my friend went to see it and they told me that it was fucking bad. Like, the visual effects were bad, the score was bad. It was like a rip-off of the Avengers and everything like that. So I think that major audiences were like, why would we go and see this movie and spend like $10 in it if it's just a bad rip-off of the Avengers with bad CGI, bad score, bad plot, bad dialogue, and it's kind of the same the same script as the Avengers had. So I think that, in my opinion, it failed because like major audiences were like, I'm not going to pay to see a bad rip-off of an Avengers film.
Yeah, you said it, man. It starts with the ridiculous, absolutely freaking ridiculous 2-hour mandate, interference from everywhere. Joss Whedon, Kevin Shahira, however the hell you say his last name. I'm not going to call him that name. I called him in that video that I have locked for personal reasons. Judas Johns, just so much. It's almost like they just nailed the plans of what Justice League was initially intended to be and supposed to be. It's like they nailed it to a cross and beat it savagely and said, let's just replace this epic, grand, beautiful film with Marvel stuff. Let's put some jokes in there. Alright, let's put some sugar and spice and everything nice in there. Alright, we did that. Now let's throw in Jawbreaker, Titanium Face, Robot Bender from Futurama, Superman. Alright, let's make Batman, say some stuff like, I don't not like you. Alright, you did that. Okay, let's make Flash fall on top of Diana. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. It's just painful to think about, bro. And that'll be the end of this video from yours truly, the greatest of the greatest, the best of the best, and that is myself along with brother Fran. We are the creators of the term "Don't Get Triggered," and what I have left to say is, don't get triggered, and have a great day. Thank you all for tuning in. Subscribe, like, and comment, and I will leave a link to Fran's channel in the description as well. You all please go subscribe to his channel, and yeah, we'll see y'all next time.
Bye bye.